Our next speaker, our first speaker today, is Dwanna. She's going to be speaking on messages from spirit. It's an uplifting demonstration of mediumship which will relay messages from the spirit realm. She's going to connect with members of the audience to bring you insightful and loving comfort from guides. She's been doing this for about 35 years and working with her spirit guides to bring comfort and relief to countless numbers of people. She's appeared on numerous television and radio shows, including national appearances on CBS, Fox, and A Current Affair. Please help me welcome Dwanna.
No matter how much of this I do, I still feel butterflies. It's like being in front of all of this power. It's just wonderful, feeling all of your energies. I have been doing this for over 35 years. I actually started doing this when I was a child. I was seeing spirit. I think we're all born with the gift. And when we come into this world, we're wide open to the energy of spirit. We are spirit. But as time fades by, we sort of lose that because our peers tell us this is our imagination, or this is something you can't be seeing or hearing, and so we sort of believe that and we lose that ability. Also, modern societies took us away from that part of ourselves that's very psychic. We need that to survive. And so modern technology has been good to us, but it's been not so good to us in our psyches. And so as I hear spirit, I need you to answer to anything you might have ever heard in the living or in the spirit world. When I speak of spirit world, I'm talking about those who've made the transition called death. And sometimes we actually even get people who are in a comatose state. Also, there's pets on the other side of all kinds. So if you hear a name that's the name of a pet, please speak up. Let me know. I also get initials. If you hear initial, you know, a first name, last name. Or sometimes it's just almost like the sound of that. And I don't really get the whole sound. It's like, for instance, if I heard Carol, I would hear Carol, Carolyn, Caroline. And so those names, or James, Jim, Jimmy, are just the initials of that. So if you hear anything you can recognize, just speak up. Okay, now I want to take some questions from the audience, if you have any questions. Nobody has a question? It gets us warmed up. Okay.
When you're hearing or receiving messages, do you hear an actual voice or is it a thought process?
It's like a thought process. I have had times, though, when I've actually heard the voice very clearly, and that's when I'm in very deep meditation. The spirit uses what I call psychic shorthand or spirit shorthand, where they flash symbols to you, they flash names to you, or, for instance, just give you a little instance, at a psychic fair I was doing a reading, and this woman had never had a reading before. I'm giving this message, and I said, anything that you recognize, please honor that. She said, okay, and I said, well, the first thing I'm getting is like a Shriner hat, you know, like a Shriner with a tassel and all of that, and I said, well, I don't know what this means, but I get a Shriner's hat. Do you know a Shriner in spirit? She said, oh, yes, I know a Shriner. It's my cousin in spirit. And I said, well, I see my sister. My sister's name's Peggy. And so that's how spirit will also give you little messages. They'll show you somebody you already know to give you a name. She said, oh, yes, I know a Peggy. She's in spirit. And I'm thinking, she's a Shriner. And I'm thinking Eastern Star. That's, you know, they're Eastern Stars. And she said, I said, well, she is Eastern Star or Shriner? And she said, no, her name was Peggy Shriner. And so that's how spirit sends you messages. And you can get them clairaudiently, you can get them clairvoyantly, or you can feel it, and you can just sense it. And that's that knowingness that you have. And a lot of times when I'm getting messages, like I just know it, and I just bring it to you. And that's how it works. Is there any other questions?
How do you develop your own ability to get messages?
I think the best way to do that is through meditation and learning how to focus. That's the first step you want to take. The next step is to get with a group and study. Study how to do this and then get validation back for yourself as you give messages to, say, a group. You're getting confidence, you're getting validation, so you know it feels like that, it sounds like that, it looks like that. So I would suggest that, and a circle is perfect for that, what we call a light circle or a spirit circle for development.
Okay. You have some spirits that they just can't, they want to come through, but they just can't seem to make it, like, because they're like shadows, and you'll hear their little noises and stuff. I mean, are they just wanting attention? Are they wanting, what are they wanting?
Attention. Pay attention. Yes, and they have a message for you. They don't necessarily come in to haunt your house. This might be a relative. It might be a friend. It might be usually it's not a guide. But sometimes you can visually just have a little light show up in the room. Have you ever had that little light dance out of the corner of your eye? Well, that's spirit. Sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're white. Has anybody else ever seen that? Ah, that's spirit. They're trying to tell you something. You'll go, did I see that? Because it's like, if you blinked your eye, you would miss it. And so that's spirit trying to tell you, I'm here. You know, it's me because I'm not a full body. But what spirit will do is come through a medium or a clairvoyant in a way that identifies them as they lived upon the earth plane. Their personality. Not necessarily they're still like that when they go on the other side, because they've had all these lifetimes before, but that's the lifetime you knew them best in. So that's when they're going to identify themselves as the personality they were before they crossed to you. And so some of them are unreachable sometimes to me when they've reincarnated. You know, and sometimes we can even get them on the physical level. A lot of times they've just moved beyond what we call the highest of realms, and you can no longer contact them. So people come to me all the time, well, why doesn't so-and-so come through? And I said, well, those are the only explanations I have. I don't know everything. I'm still learning. Every day I'm still learning about this. Any other questions?
You work with Archangel Michael or the Master?
Well, I guess I could consider that, yes, on the other dimensions. I have worked around Michael before, what I call a group call Michael I've worked with, who channeled directly through me. So the Masters to you means Saint Germain,
No, Christ.
Christ, all the Master teachers, Buddha. Is that who you're talking about?
Talking about Jesus Christ, the Master.
Well, I consider that everything. So I consider we're all part of everything. So yes, I would say everybody works with that energy in some way. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
What's the difference between a medium and a clairvoyant?
Not a whole lot. A medium is, because we see too, but a medium is psychic, clairvoyant, all the things that a psychic is, but a psychic's not always a medium. And clairvoyance means, yeah, right. Clairvoyance means clear seeing. That's what it really means. I call them the claros. All the clara means clearing. It's extended senses. So you have the five senses, and you know those five senses in the physical body, those are all extended senses. And so what's called the chakras, do you know about the chakras? Well, each one of those abilities are sort of going in line with the chakras. Okay, it opens up. I've had a lot of experience with opening and awakening with clairvoyance. Does that, okay. It's just a term for psychic, clear seeing. It's a nice word, I like it. Anybody else? It makes me think of crystal balls. You know, when you're clairvoyant, you're looking in a crystal ball, and all the crystal ball is just a tool for you to open up the clairvoyance and look into that pool of energy called the universe. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? This gets me warmed up. Gets you to see your energy.
Do you have a feeling of responsibility, or are you able to just let people take what they need from whatever comes out?
Well, I'd say my responsibility is to channel that information from spirit, whatever that might be. And sometimes it's like, okay, they need to do this, but you're not going to say, you need to go do this. You would say, here's a possibility for you. This is something you might want to try. Spirit's recommending this. They say you need to do this for your own good.
Yeah.
And so
You're able to just let it go. It's not your responsibility to. You
Yes,
They take it.
yes, and they take it. Of course, you do feel
They don't take it as their choice then.
Yes, yes. But sometimes that responsibility gets really heavy when you're trying to get everybody in a schedule and you're trying to give everybody a message. That's where the responsibility comes in. You don't want to miss anybody or anything. And sometimes there are loved ones that you just can't reach for whatever reason, again, for some of the reasons I talked about. So, you know, you feel so responsible. You want to get that one in. And so if anybody asks me, I'll go, well, let me try. That's where the responsibility, let me try to get this person in. If I can give you some evidence that they're here, then you'll know that. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but do you think that people on the other side are actually way smarter than we are?
Well, let's just say that they put on a different set of glasses than what we have on the earth plane. You know, it's clearer to them. You know, like we see fuzzy here, and we don't really see what we're doing to one another. When you get over there, it's like a new set of glasses. You start to see that much clearer. I think it also can happen in the physical level that you can see clearer too once you work on that spiritual growth and you let yourself expand your consciousness and really work on all those emotions that tie and hold you back. You understand that? And so then your vision gets clear here too. But a lot of people that cross over never had that opportunity, or they've limited themselves in some way that they're not opening their mind and hearts to what the possibilities of their life can be. Does that make sense? All right. Yes?
You may have covered this before. How did you learn to open up and listen to this gift?
Through a lot of work on myself and through meditation, focus, learning how to focus in the exclusion of anything else around me. And going to some spiritualist centers like Camp Chesterfield, Indiana. I studied there, had a home there. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Camp Chesterfield, Indiana. Lilydale, New York. It's a spiritualist camp. So that's where they train mediums. They do seminars. They do retreats. And so I did do that. Everywhere I could study, anything I could learn about spirit. I also investigated haunted houses. Being a paranormal investigator. I don't know if some of you saw the article of Dallas Morning News about Catfish Plantation here recently. But was in there, which my friend Carol Williams, who's sitting here on the front row, we've investigated a lot of phenomena together, a lot of paranormal events together over the last 25 years, 30 years, something to that effect. But anyway, in a lot of instances, we would see that this loved one's trying to get in touch with you. It's not really a haunting, you know, that they're trapped, but they're trying to get your attention. And in the case of Catfish Plantation, they've sort of built the energy there, and Spirit goes, okay, we've got the energy here. It's like an open door. We want to come in and visit, you know, because mind exists beyond this physical body. Okay? Did that answer questions for you? All right. Anything else?
Did you just mean now that there are places that are easier for spirits to enter?
Yes. Absolutely. I call them just sort of that that corridor, that open door, or dimensional area where the energy is really strong. It's kind of like an acupressure point of the earth, or acupressure point of energy. And then with all the thought of the people, say at Catfish Plantation, going in there and going, oh, I want to see a spirit. I want to see all this happen. I want to talk to them. Then, of course, it brings more energy for that.
These are naturally occurring, or there's something that can be developed?
Both. For instance, if you're doing a lot of work with phenomena or with spirit in a particular room, that builds up like a pressure point or an energy point for spirit to be there whenever you're there. It's kind of like a church. When you walk into a church or cathedral, you can immediately feel that wonderful energy as you walk in. And it's kind of like the smells and the sight just bring you to that real blessed feeling. You know that feeling? Have you ever been that? Well, that's kind of the way you'll feel when you walk into an area. And you can sometimes walk into someone's home and feel when there's chaos. Have you ever experienced that? Or when you walk in and there's real peace. Same thing. You can feel that energy. It is energy. Quantum physics theory is we're all energy. You know, we're just all a little different patterns. But we're all the same. We're all a web of life. Does that answer your question, or?
Yeah, I guess my focus in the past is probably wrong. I just figured that since the spirit world was more, or outside of this world, it would be easier for them to enter back in. But what you're saying is that's not necessarily
No,
true.
it's here. Spirit tells me that dimensions are here. If you go into, say, Brian Greene book, some of the physics of what dimensions are about, or the theory about what dimensions are about, you'll see that they're intertwined. It's not that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, it doesn't go like that. It's like a ball with a lot of colors on it. If you took just a regular bouncing ball or beach ball and you put a lot of colors on it, dimensions are like that. And so, yes, heaven's right here. I mean, the dimension of the mind is right here. But you're the one who opens the door, or they're trying to get your attention, or there's a lot of energy for them to come through. At least that's my theory on that part. Okay? My theory from experience. Anything else?
So only the people who have had alien experiences, are they seeing physical entities, or are they just moving into the spiritual world and seeing spiritual entities?
Are you talking about extraterrestrial or alien?
Aliens, and that's what people call them, and they're abducted by aliens.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it could be called aliens since we don't know them, or extraterrestrial experiences where they see something perhaps out of their sleeping state. They're able to enter another dimension and experience that. And then there's some cases where they actually had evidence that they were abducted. I know a little bit about that. I've checked out some things about that, but that's a long story. So I could tell you the stories later on, but right now that's a lot of information. But yes, I think we do have. I was just watching a TV program last night, and it was about black holes on Science Channel, and how many galaxies there are just within the Hubble telescope. And we think we're the only life forms. I don't think so. You know, there are life forms you can't even see, you don't even know about, or you can't describe. So yes, I think that's possible. That's my theory again. Anybody else? Yes.
Earlier, you had mentioned reincarnation.
Uh-huh.
How many times do you think that a soul is reincarnated?
There is no number on it. I can't tell you exactly how many. I don't think there's any number to say that, it's 1,000, it's 1,000,000, or whatever. I think it just depends on the universe, and the universe, what's needed, what that soul needs. And I definitely have seen what I consider some proof of reincarnation, yes. Thank you.
Do the spirits communicate with you when the person is sleeping?
Do they come when you're sleeping through dream state?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's one of their favorite places to visit you, is in dream state, because you're in another consciousness awareness. And a lot of the experience of people seeing spirit appear in their room is from waking up and seeing someone at the foot of your bed or beside your bed. I've heard that story over and over again. And what actually happens is you're in another realm of consciousness when you wake up. You're not fully into the conscious realm. So you see them. And that's why we know they're right here. I had a friend that told me this story about her room was filled with smoke. She woke up and all the smoke was in her room. She called the fire department because she thought her room was on fire. And it was actually her husband that was visiting her, but she had just woke up. She was just in the waking states when she saw that. So usually that's when you see the most. And in the dream state, absolutely, Spirit will say, so many times I visited you in your dream. Or you asked me to visit you in my dream, and I visited you. And a lot of people say, well, I don't remember my dreams. Well, some people don't, but they still visit because you're going out into another realm. Okay? Anything else? Okay. All right, I want everybody to relax. And just shut your eyes for a moment. Pull all of your energies back here in this room. Just take a nice deep breath and let yourself calm. And now you have absolutely nowhere to go at the moment and nothing to do except to be here and be supportive of one another in this loving energy and with Spirit. Relax your shoulders. So be it. All right. Now you can open your eyes and act normal again, except stay in the room. Okay. I want to go to the lady in the green, please. Your name? Oh, there's two greens. I'm going to go right behind you. Your name, please.
Junette.
Junette? Julia. Julia, you have something about how you're going to take a lot of trips this year. Does that make sense to you? You want to travel, 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 travel. And I see that traveling happening for you just when you want it to. No delays, because you're worried about some delays. You're worried about, I don't know when I'm going to make this travel. Okay? I see a lot of penmanship with you. You're doing a lot of writing, either journaling or some kind of writing of a book. Does that make sense to you? Okay, all right, that's a yes, I would think. Yeah. Yes, okay. Don't. Well, now they're giving you the sign, high sign. Go for it. Go write that book, and don't let yourself be afraid of writing down the words. Okay, because I see it as a great catharsis for you to write. Does that make sense to you? Okay. I see a lot of guides around you, and I see angels around you, and I see something of a mother, either mother or grandmother, standing behind you. And I feel like she's just patting you on the shoulder and saying, you did a good job with me on this earth plane. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Okay. I see an R sound. Can you take the R sound? R? The initial R? First name or last name? R. No. Okay. All right. Well, think about that, because sometimes we remember it much later. They could be in the living or in the spirit world. Okay? I just have to walk away from the microphone. I'm sorry. I have to walk in the energy. There's a little girl in the spirit that keeps pulling on me, and I feel like I want to go to somebody in here, and I don't know who it is. Someone lose a child, or lose a tiny baby, or have a friend that lost one. I feel like it's a little girl. Everybody knows who she is? Okay. I don't know who this is, but it's a little girl in the spirit world. She would have been stillborn.
My nurse manager used to have one of these that passed away.
That's it, little girl. And your manager?
Yeah.
Have you felt a lot of empathy for her, a lot of sympathy for her, because, it's coming in, she's pulling on me, and she's saying, please tell her that I love her. I see something about how she made the transition very quickly. And she went in peace, and she wants you to know that. And I see something about a whole lot of energy going over her body, like she was very, very sick. Do you know what you're talking about? We know what you're talking about. Like she went very quick, or she was very sick before she went. I see a man standing beside of her that took her hand and took her over. So I don't know if it's a grandfather or great-grandfather, but somebody took her over to the spirit world. You have a lot of energy to give back to her. You're a good healer with that energy, and talk with her about it. Tell her about the spirit lives on. She may know that in some respects, but she needs to know evidence for it as well. This is what this is all about, putting in continuity of life as much as we can. Because we all know that that's going to happen to us one day. We just don't expect it so soon when you're a child. I see a lot of clearing out a lot of information with her to mother, and trying to get everything straightened out with this death. Okay, does that make sense to you? I see a P sound around that, or around you. Who would that be? A PA sound, a P, or maybe around her, and you can't place that just yet. I want to say a PA sound, almost like my last name, like Paul or Paula. Okay, you don't know who that is? Okay, I'll leave you with that. Red. I'm going to go back to the lady in the red back here. I have to move around, even though I lose the camera, I lose that I have to move around. Your name, please? Mary. Mary, I see a lot of energy around you, and it tells me that you need some healing work. Does that make sense to you? Do you know about your healing work? Shoulders, back, neck. You need a lot of healing work. And I see something about how you always manage to get through life no matter what happens to you. Very strong. You're very powerful. And you're going through a lot of things in your life right now that really bring you towards your power. Does that make sense? Okay. I see something about how you created a lot of this energy around you to really, really cause you to grow. It's not like it's, I wanted this, but you actually did create it. And so start thinking of some different creations in your mind that you want to have happen. You can manipulate energy. Energy is what we are. So start to think some real positive things in your life. Do you know an A, like an A sound? I'm getting these people in here, so they're either standing by you or it might be someone else. Anybody in this section can take an A sound, an A, an Alice, Van? Angela. Okay, thank you. Your name? That's your last name? Yeah. Oh, okay. Ross, there's a lot of mothering energy I see around you, like feminine energy, whether a mother or grandmother who stands behind you and gives you a great big hug. Says you need lots of nurturing at this time in your life. And that nurturing just comes in the way of love, okay? And holding you close and giving you that sort of that feeling of everything's going to be okay. All right? I see something about Hunter. Somebody hunt, or is their name like Hunter? Do you know who that is? Do you see? I feel like you're hunting a lot of things, because I see somebody with a gun and with hunting. I don't feel like it's a hunter that's going to kill an animal, but you're hunting the answers. You're looking for the answers in life, and you're ready to grow. I mean, spiritually, you're ready to really get out there and find what it is that God's all about. What is God? Who am I? That's kind of the motto I see around you. And you have an excellent memory, by the way. Excellent memory. Excellent intelligence. I hear Tommy. Is that yours? Tommy? Thomas? I don't know where we'll go with this. Tom?
My middle name's Thomas.
Thank you. Okay, there's something right here. Because I want to go to you because I feel like somebody's in the spirit world with that name too. I feel like you're named after somebody, or there's somebody very important that you're named after. And so I feel like your parents are responsible for that. But I also see something about how sometimes you've got too much responsibility on your shoulders. You know, you just need some downtime. Okay? I see a lot of tension here. Your chakras are all flowing very well, though. It's just in your shoulders. And I also see something about how you sometimes someone standing behind you. Does that make sense to you? Well, pay attention to it, because I'm seeing that person standing behind you. And I feel a dad, like a father or grandfather standing behind you, putting their hand on your shoulders and saying, good work, but you need a little relaxation, okay? You're going to study all sorts of meditations. I see that. Are you already doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good, because you just passed off in India.
I've had this before.
Yeah, in India, okay. Because they're showing me India, and they're showing me all of the energy around that, and they're showing me talking about teachers, all the teachers behind you. It's very beautiful.
A little off past life progressions. I've had 4.
Oh, okay, so you can verify that. Well, there's plenty of bubbles around you, okay? All right, thank you. I hear there's a son who would have been about 20-something. Someone knows someone crossed over about that age. I have a name Terry. I see my nephew. Does anybody have a Terry or a Thompson? Anybody have a Thompson? No? Okay, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. This is like a nephew. Anybody had a nephew cross? Well, they're sure tugging on me. I don't know who this is. The gentleman in blue over here. Can I go to please?
Sure.
I just feel like there's somebody either around you or some of your family that might have a little bit of struggle with education. Does that make sense to you? Is somebody thinking about going back to school or having some educational problems? It's not with you?
Nothing at all, no.
Okay, because I just see something about working with some education with you and going back to school, learning some more things, and this can be spiritual school, so to speak. And so I feel like that you have a really good heart, a real good physical heart, because I feel there's people over here crossed over with something with the heart, and you need to know that you're physically okay. Does that make sense to you? For somebody to have blood pressure or hearts for some kind of arterial disease, because I'm feeling that you need to know that you're okay. And maybe you hadn't thought much about that, but that's what they're saying. They want to tell you that you're in good health. Okay? Is there a Ben around you? A Ben? Benjamin?
My dad's father's brother.
Uncle, in spirit world or in the living world? Tell me which.
I'm not sure. I
Okay.
haven't seen him in years.
Well, they're calling out to their nephew. Remember the nephew we got? That's what's happening here. There's a guy around 21 that keeps calling out. Okay? It's this Benjamin. All right? wind it up already. Oh. Anyway, they're telling you something about some mental work, so be careful biting down on something. All right? So that gives me, what, 2 minutes? 0.